Hey guys, welcome back to a Spooky Time podcast. It's me, Nicole. Obviously, I am your host. So, today there's not really a set theme because if you're not following the true crime world, especially in the last couple of weeks, there has been a lot of things that have popped off. Um, I'm from Coleman, Alabama, so there was actually a lawyer there who was arrested for attempting to murder her husband several times. There were skeletal remains found. There was an active serial killer last year in Talladega, and from what I know, they are actually still searching for remains. I don't know if they're connected or not. And then a big one was the Siders family. That one's not Alabama, that one's actually Ohio, but it's pretty big and it's been in the last 2 weeks. So I guess today is going to be a compilation of all of those because two of them I don't really have any information on. I'm gonna have to go back in for the serial killer one because I don't really know. I couldn't find a lot of information on that, so I'm just gonna give what information I've been seeing. Because I really couldn't decide on a topic, so I was why not just throw them all in and later on because like a lot of they're all still ongoing, so there's not a whole lot of information that's really known on any of them. I figured it would be better just to go ahead and put something out there, give at least a general knowledge because three of them are brand new. Two of them within the last 3 or 4 days, and there's no information. But I still feel like they need to be out there at least a little bit. So I'm gonna start with the shortest one because like I don't have any information on it pretty much is that there was a active serial killer in Talladega, Alabama, which is currently about an hour away from me, and there is still an ongoing search for a cold case like right now currently in Talladega. I'm not sure if they're connected. I don't know if they're related. I just know that those are two things that have been happening, and the serial killer has resurfaced, like the story has. I don't know. I think the actual killer was arrested. I'll come back with that later as a full podcast. And the next one, like I said, skeletal remains were found in Brookside, which is in Jefferson County, Alabama. So, literally not even 15 minutes away from me right now, on July 8th, 2026. So, as I'm recording this, it is July 10th. So, where was this 11th? Okay, I lied. It's July 11th right now. So, literally 3 days ago. And it was said that a person driving by actually found the remains at the bottom of a ravine I guess in the 1500 block, or not 1500, 5100 block, 5100 block of Cardiff Lens Crossing Road, you know, in Brookside in Jefferson County. The remains have not been identified yet, and there is currently no more information at this time as this is 3 days old, brand new. Remains are not identified. We don't know the cause of death. We don't know who it was. We don't know why they're there. We don't know how long they've been there. We have no information. But I promise you that as soon as there are answers, I will come back. At least if it's, if it was like a natural causes of like a homeless person and there was like no crime there, they had just passed away, I'll at least just share it at the beginning of a podcast episode before I jump into an actual topic. The one that I guess the next smallest one would be the Sara Baker case, which this one's actually kind of wild because nobody really knows why. Nobody knows why. We're all just speculating the reasons, and they're both still alive. So neither of them are really saying what happened, but she was a lawyer, so of course she's not going to say anything. She knows. She's been a lawyer for decades. But Sara Baker, she is a lawyer. I don't know if she's from Coleman, but she was living in living in Coleman and actually had a pretty nice law office in downtown Coleman. That's my hometown. That's where I'm from. She worked for the DA's office in 2004. So for at least 20 years, she has been a lawyer because to work for the DA, you got to be district attorney, DA. So, and I actually saw somewhere that she ran to be the DA in 2004. So I don't know if she did run or if she just worked in the office. I mean, I guess she could have. But she tried to murder her husband or have her husband murdered. She was officially suspended from the Bar Association. I'm not sure if she was permanently revoked because she hasn't been convicted yet, but I did see that she was officially suspended, which I mean, I would hope so. She's been arrested for a lot. So, this case actually came out in November of 2025, so not even a year ago. She was originally arrested. She was charged with domestic violence, elder abuse, 3 counts of attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, uh, distribution of a controlled substance, and 4 counts of solicitation to commit a controlled substance crime. She was arrested. She posted a $400,000, like 400 and three zeros, $1,000 bond. I think she posted it the next day, which is, I mean, she was a lawyer for several years, so I believe it. So, from what I could find, there's not really a lot. I mean, lawyer, and then so her husband and her had been married for 30 years. They didn't have any kids together, but she did have kids, and it was said he was enjoying being a grandfather. He was good. Everyone said they were a really loving couple. They didn't really know of any reason um, that why she would do this. Nobody really knows. Nobody really has the information. But the biggest kicker is her husband had a stroke a few years ago. So mentally, he's good, he's okay. But physically, he's not doing too great. And Sarah has actually been his caregiver full time since he had the stroke. And it's reported that, she was charged with 3 counts of attempted murder. So she has reportedly tried to kill him 3 times with fentanyl, or what she believed was fentanyl, on September 4th, 12th, 20th. So all 3 days, September 4th, 2025, September 12th, 2025, and September 20th, 2025, by putting the fentanyl, or what she believed was fentanyl, in his food and drinks. Some people are like, oh, it would be like an assisted suicide type thing, a mercy killing. Some rumor that it's for his life insurance policy, but I don't really understand that one because she's a lawyer. She's been a lawyer for several years. So unless she was in a lot of debt, uh, but they said that they had a really loving relationship. They didn't really have any problems. So I don't quite understand that one. Um, It is said that a client of hers was involved in assisting her with his murder. And something that literally just broke yesterday, which is why I was like, oh, now that the podcast is back up, let me just touch base on this and, give you guys something, because I know there's not really many people that listen to the podcast right now, and it's my fault. I let it go for 3 years. I should have stayed on it and been consistent. That's my fault, but I'm trying to grow it again. So here I am doing something. But literally yesterday, on July 10th, 2026, the judge in the case ruled on a warrant to arrest her, again, to revoke her bond, because she had once more tried to murder her husband. So make this count four of attempted murder. And it is, or at least something close, it is said that she gave her husband's new caretaker, so not herself, uh, a medicine bottle that had a purple tinted powder inside of it that, she told the caretaker to give to him. And, obviously she denies that this happened or that she did that, and that she denied that she, you know, violated her bond terms in any way, which, that's a local one. Literally, I used to live in downtown Coleman. I drove past that law office every day. Wild kind of thing. And this just happened last year, so really, really wild. And I wish they would I wish something would happen because I need details and I don't really have anything. And I did look. I didn't get much. So the biggest one right now that I could find, which, there's really not a lot of information on it either, but it's the Siders family. Uh, it's also being called the Ohio 16 right now, but it just released maybe 2 weeks ago. In Vinton County, Ohio. This one is really fucking sad, actually. So, there was a house in Vinton County, Ohio. Four adults lived there. Gary Siders Jr., who was 36, and Elizabeth Siders, who was 33, and then Gary's grandparent, or his parents, Christina Siders, who was 67, and Gary Siders the second, because apparently his dad would have been, the first. So we have the second and we have Junior. So I'm gonna just say Junior or the second because that's the only way anybody's gonna remember his parents. So in this house, 16 kids were found aged 1.5, so a year and a half, to 18 years old. So why the police were not there for the kids. The police were actually there. Gary Jr., so the son, the younger one, had a warrant for his arrest for four different occurrences of public indecency that were stemming from May. So that's why the police were there. They had no knowledge of the kids. So they went to the house to arrest Gary Jr. on these warrants, right? And it's a really small house. I think they said it was like 2 bedrooms, something, maybe three. Not really sure, but really small, really, really bad. So all of the kids that they found were barely able to read. They couldn't write, they couldn't speak. A lot of them had serious health conditions. They were found in a 12-foot by 12-foot room in absolutely squalor conditions with literal human feces on the floor. Uh, and two of them needed to be airlifted to a hospital in really bad condition, like pretty much dire condition. Neighbors didn't even know they had kids. If my neighbors had one kid, I would know that they have a kid. I would think they had three kids if they had one. So just 16 between a year and a half and 18 years old. They didn't know they had any kids. So I actually looked, and there were reports that, they would be they wouldn't be caught, but they would be making frequent trips to like Dollar General or something, and they would buy bread and vegetable oil. And from what I could gather, the vegetable oil sticks to you in the same way that bread does. So it's calories, and it's calories for cheap. So I don't know if they were soaking the bread in oil and then feeding it to the kids, because they were found in really bad condition. All of them were. They were all really skinny and really bad shape. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, this one's rough. I don't like anything involving kids. So she has had at least one miscarriage on record, but it's rumored that she is currently pregnant again, but I could not confirm that, so I don't know. But they're all charged with 16 counts of felony child endangerment. Elizabeth was 13 with the first pregnancy and had the first baby when she was just 13 years old. And I don't know if this is true, but from what I was reading, it said that the baby that she had at 13 was not Gary Jr.'s, it was actually somebody else's. So she married Gary Jr. when she was 15. They had to cross state lines into West Virginia for them to get married. Her parents did sign off on this because she was 15. She was obviously underage. Uh, when she was 15, she was in eighth grade. Uh, at 15, Gary Jr. was in ninth grade. So, fun fact about me, when I was 13, I was starting high school, like ninth grade. At 15, I was in either 10th or 11th grade. So, pretty wild. But I just couldn't imagine. Okay, but she has had several sets of twins. She actually gave birth to conjoined twins in 2022 at 24 weeks. And unfortunately, the conjoined twins unfortunately did die, but she did give birth in a hospital. Nobody knows really, at least it's not released, if the other kids were born in the house or if they were, born in the hospital, but it's speculated that they were most likely born in the house. Information is, pretty scarce, and not a lot is really known. Because, like I said, they had a warrant for his arrest, Gary Jr. That's why they were there. Benton County is actually Ohio's smallest budget. I want to say it's pretty much the smallest county. Their population is 12,600 people. So Gary Siders II, the granddad, he fell in jail after he was arrested for this, and he had too many health problems for them to be able to afford to give him the medical attention that he needed. They would bankrupt the entire county if they paid for his medical bills. So they actually modified his bail from $300,000, which, there was no way he was affording $300,000. None of them would be. But they modified his bail just so he could be released and have to pay for his own medical bills, which in my opinion is fucking wild because he fell while in custody in the jail. So I feel like he could probably sue them for that if, he had the money, but I would assume that he doesn't. But right now, all of the kids are in protective care, and it says that they're safe, they're being cared for, which, I mean, I do believe that. But, the kids being in protective care instantly doubled the number in the county of children needing temporary homes or foster homes. Placement cost for the kids will run $150 to $250 a day, or $85,000 for the year, which is currently 3 times the amount that Benton County generates and levies between adult and child services. So, like protective, protective services. They actually had to specially request for another $1 million in funds to be able to support the emergent and developing child, services crisis, which is wild because, like, they instantly doubled. So they only had 16 ish in there, and that's wild. And like I said, this case is still fresh. It's like 2 weeks old. Nobody was prepared for it, and there's not really a lot of information known because, I mean, in eighth grade education, they describe these kids as feral because of them not being able to, read or write, and or a lot of them really couldn't like talk. They couldn't speak well. So, which is wild to call some kids feral, especially since they were found in a house, but it was a I saw pictures of the inside of this house, and it was horrible. I've seen abandoned houses in better condition than I saw this house. And just the fact that there was 16 kids and then 4 adults, so 20 people total in this house, especially in the condition that it was in, is I cannot even wrap my head around it. I don't understand how people could do something like that. Like, and I'm sure it's little tiny Ohio County, but and like, like, who expects 16 kids to be in a little tiny house? But in those conditions, I could not even put my cat into those conditions. No, not a slightest chance. But I mean, what are you gonna do with 16 kids, I guess? At least I could understand. They had a basement. They had at least two other rooms that were completely filled. They could have made do bunk beds or something. They could have done something. They had a full like finished basement down there. It might have not been ideal for the younger kids, but the older kids could have rocked out down there for at least a little while. They had more room. They just didn't clean it up. They could have cleaned it up and then, used it for the kids if nothing else. I don't know. So, that's really all I have for this little compilation. But I just honestly, I don't know. There's a lot going on right now. There's a lot of, information that I don't know. And it's a lot. I don't really know what's going on. I will come back and I will update individually as I get more information. I really just didn't have an. I know I wanted to do the Margaret Sanchez case, but I feel like it too closely fits the Zach and Addie case. It's almost a copycat. And, I love NOLA, so I wanted to do something NOLA, obviously. There's a lot. And I felt like the Talladega one was so close. The Coleman one was literally, like, I was living in Coleman last year at that time. I'm only an hour away from Coleman now, and the one in Brookside, which is literally like 15 minutes from me right now. So those three, and then the Siders case, like, blowing up like it did. And it's from Ohio, so like small town, because Coleman is only a population of, you know, probably about 25, maybe 30,000 people now. It really wasn't even that many. When I was growing up, it was maybe 18, 20, like out of the entire county. It's a pretty big county. So there's a lot of rural land. Like the actual town is not that big. So it's mostly rural farmland, country. There is a really big industrial park, so that's where a lot of the people started coming in at. But Birmingham, okay, I understand that. Talladega, yeah, I can get that. Or Jefferson County, I could understand that. But Coleman is this little itty bitty tiny spit on the map. That's just wild. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Somebody please give me suggestions. Like, I have all of these ideas, but I don't know that anybody wants to hear them. So I want to get something that a viewer or listener wants. I kind of want to do video because that actually helps get your views up because people like that. I have YouTube up, but YouTube is just audio, it's not video. But if that's what people, want to see, if they want the option to have it audio, if they want the option to have it video, I'm willing to do both of those. Whatever, let me know, give me suggestions. I have the podcast email set up, a spooky time pod at gmail.com. I have the Facebook page up and running, a spooky time podcast. I have the YouTube channel is actually just under, I have it just under my YouTube channel because I don't know how to like make a new one to just do that. So it's Nicole Crook 9500 and I have all of the audio linked to YouTube also. YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Apple actually automatically connects them to several different platforms that I've never heard of before. If you guys would please give me a rating, please give me, a follow, whatever you want to do, leave a comment, give me suggestions. I want to start doing listener stories, like listener submissions. So you can send in emails, you can send in a message to the Facebook page. I don't mind either way. I want to do a compilation video like that also because they're actually my favorite. Morbid and That's Why We Drink are two of the podcasts that I love and I really grab a lot of inspiration from. Unexplained Encounters, but it's by Darkness Prevails, and it used to be the Darkness Prevails podcast. This is completely listener storied based. So if he did not have anybody sending them in, he wouldn't have a podcast. He wouldn't have a show. But Morbid and That's Why We Drink have listener submitted stories that they read. I think they do theirs once a month. I would be okay with that. I would like to do them more frequently if that's, if I could, if I got stories. I want to expand this podcast. I want to do more with it. I know there's not really many of you listening right now. It's small. We're getting there. I'm trying. I'm doing my best, okay? I'm struggling. Thank you guys for supporting me and supporting the podcast. I love you all.